Microphone test. Test, test.
That's it?
Just yours?
Yeah. Okay, good evening, everybody. I will call the meeting to order. Apologies for it starting late. There's some construction at the end of the driveway, so we were just giving some little extra time for people to arrive. First item is confirmation of quorum. Madam CAO, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do.
Oh, you're not on.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So next item is declaration of conflicts of interest. I have a conflict to declare on the grant for Louisville Minor Hockey. As I stated at the committee of the whole meeting, my children are members of that association, so I will step out when that grant is discussed. Do we have any other conflicts to declare? Service
Me with
manager.
the closed session, second point.
Okay. Services manager Vanessa Arbo.
I have a conflict with 11E as well.
Okay. And Councillor Esty has declared a conflict on an item in the closed session at the end of the meeting. Any other conflicts? Okay, I think that's the most we've ever had. So the next item will be the adoption of this evening's agenda in its current form. Do I have a mover to adopt the agenda in its current form? Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Deputy Mayor Jean Gras. Just because you moved, I can't assume you're going to second. Are we ready for the question?
Question.
We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the agenda in its current form, show your consent by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item is adoption of minutes from the June 23rd regular meeting. Do I have a mover to adopt those minutes?
I'll move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Jean Gras. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Murray. Are we ready for the question?
Question.
We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the minutes from the June 23rd regular meeting, show your consent by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Just anybody watching the live stream, just so you're aware, I don't know if you can see or tell, but Councillor Esty is with us online. I didn't mention that at the beginning of the meeting. So next up, we have questions from the public. Did we have any submitted questions, CAO Downey?
No submitted questions.
Okay, do we have any questions from the floor? All right. So next item is petition, request, or delegation. Do we have any of those items?
We do not.
Okay, so we'll go to council member reports, and we'll start with Councillor Martin.
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, what's been on everyone's mind recently has been the forest fire that's taken place here in Irishtown. Obviously, all crews and individuals involved have worked diligently, as well as staff members, Mayor Warren here as well as several other agencies, both within the province and outside of the province. I'd like to thank all the first responders, and this being one of the, I'd say, first major emergencies for the area for a lot of our residents. I think overall our residents have handled this rather well in these dangerous situations. Taken from this, I think we have a lot we need to learn from on this, different routes, and a lot of feedback would be appreciated on it. Aside from there, as everyone has seen coming up to the building, there's been a fair amount of construction in the area on Route 115 with increasing collisions within our area right now. I just want to tell everyone, take caution with that and pay attention.
Okay. My apologies, we have an order for this, and Deputy Mayor Jean Gras was supposed to be first on the report list. My apologies for that. Oh, what did I do? Deputy Mayor Jean Gras?
So there are councillors here who were far closer to the main event than I was. Councillor Martin, for example, as well as the mayor. We have many who here worked with the front line, who saw the smoke, and who dealt with a lot of the anxiety. And of course, I will allow them to speak on that. My level of involvement was providing information to residents who were, for the most part, unthreatened by the fire, but they were still anxious for their friends and family and neighbors who were in the area. And I want to thank the mayor for working very hard behind the scenes in many cases to get that info out that everybody was asking for. So foremost, I want to highlight how council as a whole responded to this crisis. We are a very young municipality. All of us here got our political feet wet 3 years ago together. And in a moment of crisis, we didn't crumble, okay? We didn't bicker. Councillors did not shuffle for the spotlight. In fact, we rallied, we challenged misinformation, we offered assistance together, and when necessary, we stood behind our mayor, and at other times, we stood beside her, and we kept on message. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Esty, how are we gonna,
He can do it right from here.
okay, you got him on the mic?
Yep.
Okay,
I'll just send my report in
okay.
to the CAO. Thanks.
Councillor Savoie?
First of all, I want to apologize for being late. Construction was a large part of that lateness. I don't want to repeat what's been said already. I just want to, my warmest, heartfelt thank you to Mayor, CAO Hannah, and Service Manager Vanessa. You guys were unbelievable to I think I don't know if things could have been done any better at our level. You guys did very well dealing with the public, dealing with all the agencies with the government. Tip of the hat to you guys. I'll have a more complete report in which I will talk about last night's meeting about emergency measures preparedness committee that is getting started. It's just coincidence that it happened during this crisis, but it's going to be touching more than just forest fires. It's preparedness for everything.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Murray?
Once again, like a lot of people have said, thank you to everyone, even the volunteers that were here for the comfort center that we had set up here, the volunteers that kind of showed up for that, for the heat and the smoke and everything else. I just wanted to, they wanted to get a minute to get out of their house in those times. They were able to, even though we were on an advisory. I know there was a lot of things. I personally started well before I ever, Maple Hills was ever even an idea. I started a Facebook group, and so I had the joys of managing that through the entire situation and trying to get the information out there as quickly as possible to anyone that had it. I will say, and we all know, we all see what social media can do. It can do a lot of good things. Hence the reason why I made that group many years ago, so people could stay in touch around our area. But it also can bring out some other things at the same time. I remind everyone, if you ever have a question, you can always call us. You can always reach out to us. There seems to be a lot of people that like to, voice their opinions online, but it doesn't seem like they ever want to reach out and communicate with the people directly involved, myself included. I put my, when I was giving updates, I started putting my number on the bottom of it. And the only phone call I really got was from a lady asking how she could help donate to the firefighters for food and water and Gatorades and stuff like that. So just a reminder, if you guys ever have an issue with anything in the municipality, our councillors and mayors and deputy mayors and everything else for this community, give us a call. We'd rather have a conversation with you and try to explain whatever we have to. It seems like I said, obviously this is a thing that I've lived in this area for 35 years of my life, and this has never been a thing in this area. So a lot of things like the word advisory, some people might not understand as much as someone that may live out west, that they probably get put on an advisory 10 times a year, so they kind of know what that means a little bit more than others. So to get away from the fire, though, just a reminder to any volunteers that want to step up, there is a Family Fun Day for the Irishtown Community Center. There is a meeting tomorrow night at the Irishtown Community Center for anyone that wants to help give back. Once again, it's good to always give back to your community if you can, whether it's just volunteering, if you want to sponsor the event, if you have a company, all that other good stuff. But it's a good thing for our local area. So that's it.
Thank you. So my report's on my phone this evening. I'm not checking Facebook. The hazard of the mayor going last is that stuff gets repeated, but I already had it written and it's hard to pick things out, so bear with me. So thanks to all the residents who were patient with our updates during the forest fire and to those who offered assistance to residents under evacuation advisory. It made me very proud to see residents in and around Maple Hills so eager to assist others in any way they could. Thanks to the volunteers who helped us open and run the Comfort Center, and to our staff, Hannah and Vanessa, you were rock stars and we are fortunate to have you. We are forever grateful to the firefighters who had their boots on the ground in the heat wave fighting the fire. Thanks to the various provincial departments, especially Public Safety, the Emergency Measures Organization, Natural Resources, and the Premier for their support. And thanks to council members who did offer support. The Deputy Mayor's report was accurate. You don't see everything that goes on, but the messages, the phone calls, the can I helps, they were there. Just because it was my Facebook page with a lot of the updates and my face in front of the news camera, they were all there offering to help or helping. Some right with boots on the ground, moving horses and visiting residents to make sure they were ready to evacuate. We have all learned lots from this and have great fodder to proceed with our emergency plan and work with other provincial departments to be better in an emergency in the future. Last night, Maple Hills had its first emergency committee meeting. I'd like to thank the residents who volunteered their time to be on the committee. We had a great turnout and we're already off to a great start. And finally, I just want to remind anybody listening that our mobile Eco Depot is here in the community center parking lot Wednesday and Thursday. Apologies in advance. Council was not aware there would be road construction in front of the building this week, so please be patient when you're coming in for the depot. Excuse me. Okay, so now we move to bylaws, motions, and resolutions, and the first one is the new parking lot and drainage updates. So I will let CAO Downey lead off if she has anything she'd like to add.
I was hoping to open up, sorry. I was hoping to open up the presentation. Okay, I'm already getting a fail, so we're gonna skip that. Okay, so just to give a little bit of background from our committee of the whole meeting, council had received first two options from our engineer partners. There was an option A with a cost of 1.5 million, and there was another cost, option B, at just under 1 million. And there was still some revisions to be made to remove some things, such as the sidewalk that was in the original scope, some landscaping, including like shrubbery. There was some curbing. There was also paving that would continue from the corner of the building around the back, which would include what we call the emergency exit. So council had requested that Englobe go back to the contractor, who was the lowest bidder, and find pricing to remove what it would look like to remove those, and also cost to what it would look like to remove the overflow parking. One of the concerns with removing the overflow parking was that there was going to be a cost associated if we were going to have to remove the materials from the main parking area, as it's not suitable for the base of the parking lot, but it would be suitable for the overflow parking lot. And I believe that came in at something around 37,000 plus HST to have that materials removed. So Englobe presented some new options on Sunday. I think I sent it to you guys just yesterday to have a review for it. So what I've done is I've presented a couple of options. If there's anyone from council that wants to proceed, we need a motion on the floor and a seconder to, I guess, continue the conversation.
So I guess step one would be, is there an option that somebody would like to proceed on?
I'd like to.
Oh, okay, just, we're live, you gotta, Councillor Savoie?
I'd like to propose on motion 2, which is, reads like this. Whereas the Council of Maple Hills has received and reviewed the tender and submission for parking lot and drainage upgrade project, and where, excuse me, and whereas Englewood Corp., acting as the project consultant, has evaluated the bids and recommended awarding the contract to East Coast Construction, Inc. And whereas changes were requested by council to reduce overall cost, and the project, Englewood Corp. Reviewed these changes with the contractor. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of Maple Hills award the tender for the parking lot and drainage upgrade to East Coast Construction, Inc. for the revised total cost of up to $1,101,100, including net HST, and engineering services in accordance with the terms and specification outlined in the tender document as amended, and that the Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, be authorized to execute all necessary documents to give effect to this award.
Okay. So I expect that probably somebody would like to speak on this motion.
Seconder.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Do I have a seconder on this motion? Okay, seconded by Councillor Murray. Would council like to speak on this motion?
The mover gets priority.
Oh, okay. He's not asking. Councillor Martin?
There you go. I do just want to confirm that the overflow parking is not cut from this, because that 37,000 plus HSD versus $100,000 total.
Okay. If Mayor Warren's okay, I can just kind of
Yes.
go over what it is. So the price that was moved on is option 5 in the document. So it is to keep the overflow parking lot, remove the landscape, the sidewalk, the curbs, and approximately 150 square meters of asphalt, which is what that emergency area is. So under 5, it's actually option 5B, which is to replace the landscape area with topsoil and hydroseed. So it's removal of concrete barrier curb, concrete barrier curb type 2, including sidewalk, the landscaping, including new shrubs and plants, removal of non-woven geotextile, aggregate sub-base and base complete, and asphalt type C base, which would be that part. What's replacing those items that need replaced is topsoil and hydroseeding with bollards, and those are, I believe it's the things that have to go in front of the wells so that the wells are protected. And that's the price of 1.1 million.
And that does include, there's still curbage around the
Oh,
posts.
yours. Oh, sorry.
There's still concrete curbage around the posts and that.
No, it's removing
All of it.
all the curbs.
Okay.
So it would have an impact on the edges of the pavement because that's
Yep.
usually protected with the curbing. So it would have an impact on that. I believe the engineer mentioned that.
I think it was one of the answers we got to the 5 questions.
Okay, right, yes. As these areas would be vulnerable to traffic since no curbs would be in place to protect them. So it just says, replacing the island areas with topsoil offers a low-cost solution. However, it would increase the long-term maintenance requirements.
Okay.
Yeah, I got from that, the concern wasn't the edges of the pave so much as it was that people could drive on the grass because there were no curbs there to stop that, right?
Right.
That's how I read it, yeah.
Yes,
The
yeah,
plowing, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Counselor Savoie?
My question is just regarding the attachment that we have in our documentation for the request for decision. The option 2 is at about $102,000 less on the contract than it is in the motion.
The request for decision, is that what you're referring
Yeah.
to? So that request for decision came up at, I believe it was a committee of the whole, so when documents go into the next meeting,
Oh,
everything
okay.
overflows, yeah. And the previous CAO had made a habit of, if there was anything new, we would put new in the attachment. So if you see an attachment that doesn't say new, it's ultimately a,
So it's, okay.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
Okay, does anyone else want to speak on this motion? Okay. So having had two movers and input given, I guess it would now be time for a vote. So are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of proceeding with the motion that Councillor Savoie put forward to award the contract at 1.101,101,101 dollars plus HST, including HST, show your consent by saying yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay.
It includes net HST, so that's the amount that it would actually cost to the municipality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I ask something? Perhaps Hannah speak to where the funding is coming from, just because we're live? I wouldn't want people to think
Oh.
that this is coming straight from.
So Deputy Mayor Jean Gras, sorry, your mic wasn't on. Deputy Mayor Jean Gras is asking Hannah if she can speak for a moment to where the funding for the parking lot is coming from, just for those that are watching or those that may be watching after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that we should be kind of celebrating because this is not going to have an impact on tax rates and taxpayers of Maple Hills. The funding for this project are coming 100% from the Canada Community Building Fund, which for some people maybe watching would know that formerly as the gas tax fund. So those are federal dollars that are provided to a municipality through a provincial program for upgrades, capital investments such as these projects. It may also be important to note that it's for parking lot and drainage upgrades, so it's not just a pretty paved parking lot, it's,
Keep the building from getting wet.
yeah.
And I would encourage anybody with questions to look it up. There actually is a criteria that goes with spending that money. We can't just spend it just on whatever we feel like. Okay, so we'll move to 11B, which is the bylaw for emergency planning and procedures. Do I have a mover on that item? Councillor Martin?
I move that we proceed with the first reading by title of bylaw A-10, a bylaw relating to municipal emergency measures plan.
I'll second.
Sorry, I was just, yeah, okay. Seconded by Councillor Savoie. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of proceeding with the first reading by title, show your consent by saying yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
People just confirm with Councillor Esty each vote that he is in favor.
You did? I assumed we'd hear him say no if he,
Yeah, no, he's,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so bylaw A10, emergency planning and procedures, a bylaw of the local government of Maple Hills relating to municipal emergency measures plan, sorry.
Okay, so do I have a mover on the second motion? Councillor Martin?
I move that we proceed with the second reading by title of bylaw A-10, a bylaw relating to municipal emergency measure plan.
Do I have a seconder on that motion? Seconded by Councillor Murray. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of proceeding with the second reading by title, show your consent by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
I apologize, my mic was off when I read the first one, but I did read it. Bylaw A-10, Emergency Planning and Procedures, a bylaw of the local government of Maple Hills relating to municipal emergency measures plan.
Okay, and on the third topic to adopt the readings, do I have a mover? Councillor Martin.
I move that we adopt the first and second readings by title of Bylaw A-10, a bylaw relating to municipal emergency measures plan.
Do I have a seconder on that motion? Seconded by Councillor Murray. For those watching the live stream, the pauses are, we're recording the votes. Are we ready for the question? Question. We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting the first and second readings of the bylaw by title, show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, so we'll move to 11C, which is the 2025-2030 strategic plan. Do you have any comments on that, CAO Downey, before we proceed?
I don't have any comments on it, no.
Okay, so this motion would be to adopt the strategic plan that we have. Do I have a mover on this motion? Moved by
I'll move.
Deputy Mayor Martin, or Deputy Mayor Jean Gras, force of habit, my bad.
Be it resolved that council formally accept and adopt the 2025-2030 strategic plan as presented.
Do I have a seconder on this motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Savoie. Are we ready for the question?
Question.
We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of adopting our 2025-2030 strategic plan as presented, show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. So we will move to, oh, my apologies.
Is it okay if I make a comment?
Sure.
On the strategic plan? I just want to thank council for the work that you've put in to get this completed. It was kind of a long out, kind of drawn out process, but I think that council really rallied together and got this done. So congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, so the next one is the voting representative. I see the motion in front of us has names. I think CAO Downey has an update for us on that topic where we may want to remove the names.
Yeah, so it seems that the mayor and deputy mayor are commonly the ones that attend UMNB meetings where voting would take place. So I just left the option there if it's going to be mayor and deputy mayor, then it kind of goes without having to list names. That would have to be then changed. And then the other option is if council were nominating or appointing voting members as Councillor X and Councillor X, then the names have to be included. Just something to consider before you make the motion.
So if we exclude the names and we have a change of deputy mayor, which over the course of a term we will see, we don't have to keep revisiting the motion. Whereas if we have the name, every time the deputy mayor changes, we have to redo the motion. So to me, it just seems more efficient to just have titles and not names. Is everybody okay?
Yep.
So we will pass this motion without names, just with titles. Do we have a mover? Eric, Councillor Murray, you'll move?
I move that the Council of Maple Hills hereby resolves that the mayor be appointed as a voting member at meetings of the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick, UMNB, with the deputy mayor appointed as the alternate voting member.
Do I have a second on this motion? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question?
Question.
We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of moving with the representatives for voting at UMMB motion as read, show your consent by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. So next up is grants, and the first grant is the grant that I've declared on. So Deputy Mayor Jean Gras, will you take the chair? Oops.
So where do we go from here?
Well, we're going to start with the first grant, since this is the one the mayor declared conflict on. If somebody is prepared to make the motion.
I'll make the motion for the first one. Be it resolved that council grants the following grant.
Oh, one second, your mic's not on.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Just hit next.
yeah. There we go.
Be it resolved that council grants the following grant as per grant policy P07. An amount of $500 will be given to the Louisville Minor Hockey Association. Seconder?
Do we have a seconder? Okay. Ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor of passing the motion as read by Councillor Savoy, say yes. Yes. All those opposed? Motion carried. I know, eh? It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, there's extra screens, there's, yeah.
I do it for every time I get to Kodiak meeting, I do the same thing, like, I do this twice a month, I do it every month, and somehow it's when it's you in this chair, it throws you off, so.
Okay, so we'll move to 11E2, which is a grant for the Grace Point Church. Do I have a mover on that? Moved by Councillor Murray.
Be it resolved that council grants the following grant as per the grant policy P07. An amount of $500 will be given to the Grace Point Church.
Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question?
Question. Oh,
Oh, I'm
Before
sorry.
we vote.
My apologies. I should have asked if you wanted to speak on it. My apologies. Councillor Savoy?
Just before we vote, just because the way it's worded, I just want to make it clear to the population that we're not giving money to a church. It's for a back-to-school program that benefit all the kids regardless of faith in the area.
Thank you, Councillor Savoy. I actually intended to say that when we were done. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of awarding the $500 grant to the Grace Point Church, show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, so next is the grant for the Irishtown Community Center Family Fun Day sponsorship. Do I have a mover for that item? Oh, okay. Deputy Mayor Jean Gras.
Oh. Oh, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. That's okay.
Be it resolved that council grants the following grant as per the grant policy P07. An amount of $500 will be given to the Irishtown Community Center for Family Fun Day.
Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of awarding the $500 grant to the ICC for Family Fun Day, show your consent by saying yes. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, so now we have reached the unfinished business portion of the meeting. Do we have any unfinished business, CAO?
We have a lot of unfinished business, but nothing for the agenda for this evening.
Okay. All right, so at this, it's kind of ominous, isn't it? Especially since some of us are not probably sure of everything you're referring to. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is closed session.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks for coming, guys.
I'll move that we enter closed session.
Okay, motion from Councillor Savoy to move to closed session. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martin. Are we ready for the question? We'll now proceed with the vote. All those